Welcome back to Dummy Boy Finance. I'm Dummy Boy, and today IQIYI released their Q1 earnings, and so I want to go over their earnings, and I want to let you guys know if I ended up selling this stock. So right now we are looking at IQIYI's first quarter 2021 financial results, and in my opinion, we had a very strong earnings. First thing here to mention is that the total revenues were $1.2 billion. Today after market close, right now IQIYI is trading at a mere $11 billion market cap. And so if you're looking at a company that's trading at $11 billion, that's able to generate billions in a quarter, that should let you know exactly how big of a company this is and the growth prospects that this company has for the future. And so that represented a 4% increase year over year. The biggest thing in my opinion that I found in this earnings report was that their operating loss margin went down to 13%. So year over year, they had 29% last year, 13% this year. And so if you look right here, our content costs continued to decline on a year over year basis for the third consecutive quarter. So this is huge for a company that is trying to create its own content. If they can get the content costs down, which they have been doing for the last 3 quarters, this company will eventually turn a profit. And once they've turned that profit, this company is going to be a cash cow. And so that to me was the biggest thing to take away. And so they did have a 7% decrease in membership service revenue. But remember that when COVID hit, they lost some of their subscribers. They were up at around 118, got down to about 105. But then they gained 3.6 million this quarter, which was absolutely stunning to see that they're starting to regain their subscribers. You can see online advertising up 25% year over year. We see content distribution revenue up 29% year over year. We're looking at other revenues up 10% year over year. And so this is a company that continues to grow. It's been on the stock market now for about 3-4 years. They had their 11th year anniversary on April 22nd. This is a strong growth company in a very emerging sector that has a dominant market share right now that is going to continue to grow its own content library. They are getting into exclusive movie deals, which is even bigger for this company that was only supposed to be dropping TV shows, is now getting into cinematography. They are going to have their own movies come out, and that is going to lead to a lot more revenue streams. But overall, the biggest thing I took away is that their content production costs are starting to get lower, which means that we are going to turn a profit a lot quicker than we anticipated. And so after looking at this earnings report, and let's say I never looked at the stock chart and I knew nothing about this company, I would assume that this stock was probably on a slow and steady uptrend. A growing company in an emerging sector just seems like a very strong play. However, if we look at the stock chart for IQIYI, that is literally the opposite of what's been going on. So we've had strong consolidation, trading sideways since this IPO back in 2018. We've just been trading between ranges of $16 and $28. And so we haven't really seen any growth. And so after all that great news, I'm looking at the stock price that is trading at all-time lows here. We haven't seen price action this low ever here on IQIYI. So yesterday we actually hit the low of around $12. And so if I'm looking at the stock price right now, this is looking like a major value for a huge growth play. I don't think we're going to see any cheaper prices than what we saw yesterday. If we do, that is going to be a buying opportunity. The fear that people had because of this SEC investigation got a little out of control. The reason why I say that is if we look at our accumulation over distribution and I track this back to the same point that we are at right now, it would bring us to this point right here. And at this point in time, you can see where our price action was. We were trading between a range of $16 and $20. And so just off of this indicator alone, IQIYI should be trading between 16 and 20. And so that alone lets me know that we are undervalued here on IQIYI. This is a very, very strong growth play in the future. And so I have personally owned IQIYI at $16. I've owned it at $18. I've owned it at $24. I've owned it at $20. I've owned it at $22. I've owned this stock a ton, and so I've been always just buying and selling this one using this little pattern here to give me a strong indication of where this one wants to go. And so a lot of you have been asking me, am I holding IQIYI? So I've actually brought my cost down, and I have now gone into a long position on IQIYI. This right here is my current average cost, and I am very happy about where I have bought IQIYI. I've never been able to buy it this low. I've never had an average cost this low. My lowest average cost was at around $16, which was support here. And now I feel like I have got the best price that I've been waiting for this company. I've had my eyes on this, and like I've said, I've owned this at a price a lot higher than what it's at right now. And this is a company that continues to grow. There was a lot of fear about delisting of Chinese companies, these SEC investigations, and so we saw an overreaction with the sell-off, which was a very nice buying opportunity. You could see we're well below all of our SMAs. We had our death cross, and so I do think this was a short-term bottom here in IQIYI, and so I capitalized, averaged down my price, and now here we are today. I'm very excited about where I personally have IQIYI. I think this stock is going to be a stock that continues to grow year over year, and we will eventually start to see the share price catch up to its momentum. And so if I'm looking at about a 5-year outlook for IQIYI, this stock is going to be well above this $28 level. Like, this right here is just consolidation. Like, this is letting me know that the company has not been doing anything. Like, this right here, if I was to look at just the stock chart, would let me know that this company has done nothing, and at this point I would maybe assume that they have fallen off of what they're doing. But we saw a very strong earnings. We're seeing year over year increases. We're seeing increase in innovation. So the chart does not actually reflect what's going on with IQIYI. And so with the overreaction of the delisting fears, I thought this was a great time to be buying IQIYI. And so right now I will not be buying any more IQIYI, nor will I be selling any IQIYI. This right here is in my long-term portfolio. I have locked and loaded my position. I have traded and day traded this stock for years, and now I'm finally here locking my position in for a long position. And so even if it gets up to this level of resistance, I will not be selling, because I do think this stock is going to be well above this price, and I personally love my average cost. And so overall here with IQIYI, we had a solid earnings report, so I expect us to build on the momentum we saw today. We've seen an overreaction that still needs to be fixed, and so those of you who have been buying up here while everybody thought this stock was done, congratulations to you guys, because I do think that is going to be extremely profitable trade. So if you look at our RSI is still at a 42. We have lots of room to the upside. Our first level of resistance is going to be here at around 16.20, so we still have a long ways to go till we get there. And I believe in this company. They are backed by Baidu. These guys are the Netflix of China, and they even say themselves they're trying to be the Disney of China. And so they're kind of capitalizing and trying to do a lot of things at once. And so the biggest thing for me in a growth company is to see that their cost of production is starting to go down. And so I love to see that as an investor. And so I did snag up cheap shares. Under $10 billion market share, I think, was an absolute steal on this company. This thing's going to be a monster in the future. This thing's going to be a cash cow, and it probably will be one of China's most coveted companies. And again, this is biased. I am an investor. I believe heavily in this company. And so with a lot of these fears with China being just scam companies and just delisting fears and a lot of stuff going on with China, this stock cannot just keep going down. This is a legitimate company that is legitimately growing. And so just common sense told me we have an earnings report coming up. How much lower can this really go? And so that is kind of when I loaded up the boat yesterday. So here we are today after a strong earnings report. We closed out the day today up over 10%. I do expect IQ to have volatile sessions, but I do think we did put in a bottom there yesterday. And so if you guys like this video on IQIYI, don't forget to like. We are on the road to 10K subs, so if you made it to this point, feel free to hit that subscription button. This is Dummy Boy Finance. I'm Dummy Boy, and I'll see you guys in the next one.